do them, alright. So HAVS them, okay? The aim of today's lesson is to highlight you the hazard of hand-arm vibration and whole body vibration. Okay, so if you're thinking about, has anyone heard of a Brock before? A Brock?
CH, right? B-R-O-C-H?
Yeah, B-R-O-K-K.
Oh,
the thing that, the big thing that breaks up the slab on site. Everyone must have seen it before.
It's a bit, yeah? So it's a bit that you put on the on the Kango and you...
Yeah, but you know the big ones, the remote control ones, the Brock. Try and find one. You've all seen it before. These things.
It's like a big spade bit?
Is it about concrete blocks?
Brock, one of these.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen that before?
Yeah.
Noisy?
Yeah.
Horrible things. If I go on site one of them, like, oh, I'm not doing all this today. So these things here use something called whole body vibration. Okay, so if you're standing next to the slab and that guy's breaking it out, the vibration can obviously cause whole body vibration, starting from your boots all the way up, okay, shaking you from the inside. Okay, so that's what whole body vibration is. We'll tell you about some of the signs and symptoms of HAVS, okay? And if you do have any signs and symptoms, you need to let myself, Trevor, or Ramona know, okay? Especially if you go to the doctors, okay? Because we need to record that. Because if, say, in 10 years' time, you had total loss of, I don't know, dexterity in your fingers, you could put a claim in. What's that, Lucas?
You think it is, though?
Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Good practice.
It was off, just for the picture.
There you go. So what we want to try to do is then, we want to try to reduce the risk from HAVS, okay? So we can do that by rotating the workforce, okay? So making sure people don't exceed the daily work limit, okay? We can also put other PPE in place. You can get special gloves with foam in them, okay? Don't know how well they work. What we're going to trial in, I spoke to Harrison, we're going to get some watches, okay? It tells you if you're going over the limit, okay? We're going to try these out, okay? It's something better than we can do, especially for the strip out boys, okay? It's really, really important to look after them. So we talk about vibration, white finger, carpal tunnel syndrome, okay? Carpal tunnel syndrome is something that typists get quite a lot, okay? People typing all day. But you think if you're doing that all day, there's a little nerve that runs all the way up here, all the way up your arm, okay? And apparently it's really, really painful, okay? It starts right here, in that part of your palm.
Yeah, I know a mechanic. He stopped working for about 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Because he had the carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, and pain is really, really, really
painful.
painful.
It's so bad.
Really, really painful. So sometimes you see people, they have like the things on their keyboards, like the foam things, that helps them relieve the pressure. Okay. We'll talk about risk assessments, specifically to the tool we're using, okay? The Ready Reckoner, okay, the table, okay, tells you how much vibration the tool produces. A little summary at the end, and we've got a little question sheet at the end as well. Okay, this one's not very, very long, only about 25 minutes, okay? So what is hand-on vibration? So hand-on vibration is vibration transmitted into your hands and arms when you use handheld tools. Okay. Too much exposure to hand-on vibration can cause hand-on vibration syndrome. Okay, called HAVS for short. Okay, and carpal tunnel syndrome. Okay. So by using them tools all the time, your risk of getting this is quite high. Okay. It affects the nerves, the blood vessels, muscles, joints of the hand, wrist, arms, and becomes severely disabling if ignored. Okay, so it's really, really important, even if you think your hands are tingling after, let somebody know. Because we would rather you just go and do something else, maybe load the waste up in the bins, just because we do not want to continue working if you get any of the symptoms. It's really, really important. Okay? But obviously with everyone here, that's obviously good. Okay? So that's a good way to check. Obviously you've got good blood flow in your fingers. So that's what it can look like. Okay? So the person who come in here and sat on this course with me very, very recently, the tip of the finger was red up to here, but this bit was relatively white. It had no feeling there. And it was causing this person to
not be able to sleep very well, because when you're trying to sleep, if you have any kind of pain, it seems to multiply when you sleep. You're losing sleep, and obviously it's making it worse, and can't do anything about it. Okay, so we want to try to avoid it. Vibration white finger is a long-term condition that can result from prolonged use of vibrating tools. Okay, even obviously at work and at home. Okay, so if you do a whole day's work using skill saw and then you go and do some private work, you've got to think, you need to take that into consideration as well. Okay, it's really, really important you look after yourselves. Okay. Vibration white finger causes numbness and tingling of the fingers. Okay, which is then accompanied by whitening of the fingers as well. Okay. It is preventable, but there's no cure for it. Okay? So once you've got it, it's too late. Okay, so if you get any tingling, stop what you're doing. Okay? Rest up, try again tomorrow. Okay? Really, really important. Has anyone experienced tingling or numbness after using tools?
Oh,
Esther? Yeah?
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. But at least
Yeah.
if you think about it now, you think, now, especially when you're talking to your labourers, you need to get that message to them quite really, because everybody's different. Don't matter your size, your colour, your race. If you're using that tool and your hands are starting to hurt, you need to let someone else have a go. Okay, it's really, really important. Okay, like you said, if you've experienced it before, at least you can tell your story. Okay, it's really, really important. Like I say, there's no cure for it. You can't take no medicine for it. You have to just chop your fingers off instead.
Take his veranda.
Take it off. So what is carpal tunnel syndrome? Okay, carpal tunnel syndrome is a nerve disorder which may involve pain, tingling, numbness, and weakness of the hand, and can be caused by other things, exposure to vibration. Okay, also can be from bending your hands over like that, okay, typing all the time. You sit there and do that for about a minute, you'll feel all the muscles in your arm contracting. You don't realise it if you're sitting there typing all day. So back in the 80s, typists used to get that quite a lot. Because the PAs and all that would sit in meetings, people used to type, and it's a really, really big condition, especially in women, especially at this part of the arm, the forearm. Okay. Treatment for that can take months. You have to wear a splint. Okay, so you have to wear something on your arm to try and keep your arm straight. Okay. Painkillers and steroid injections can be used, and you can have surgery for it. So there is some kind of treatment for that. Okay, but it's going to be very, very prolonged. We all know the NHS in England is not the fastest people in the world, so you're probably going to be right at the bottom of the queue as well. Okay, so what we want to do is to prevent that from happening. Okay. So there's the nerve there, right in the middle of your hand. So that is where you're going to be pressing down all the pressure on tools, especially breakers and things like that, and jigsaws. Okay. So what are the early signs then? Okay. So in the cold and wet, the tips of your fingers go white, and then they go red. Okay. Has anyone been that cold that their fingers are sore? That's what it feels like. Okay. The tips of your fingers is literally agonising pain. Okay. Sometimes when I go out cycling in the cold, I get indoors and I put my hand on the cobble so it feels hot. That is exactly the same kind of pain it will be, and that will be all the time. If you're trying to get to sleep at night, that pain is there. You can't get rid of it. Horrible. Torture. And it can spread. Okay, it can go down your fingers and into your arms. If you continue to use vibrating tools with these symptoms, it's going to make it worse. Okay, it's really, really important. The numbness in your hands could become permanent, and you will not be able to feel things at all. Okay, so we have got somebody in the company who that is now. Okay, they can't pick up little things off the floor. Okay, because they've got no feeling at the end of their fingers, which I can imagine is horrible. You'll have difficulty picking up small objects such as screws, nails, and holding things for a long period of time. Okay. So when am I at risk then? So you're at risk when you regularly use handheld powered tools. Okay, such as concrete breakers. Okay, strip out. For the guys using strip out. How long do you use breakers for breaking out some slab?
Say half hour each.
Half hour each?
Brilliant.
Yeah? So how many guys do you have doing it? Again, don't want to answer that question.
Don't ask me.
So you need to think about this, because I want to make sure that nobody gets injured. Okay, so the big hilty breakers, I think you can use them for up to an hour and a half, but that's trigger time. Remember that. So that's an hour and a half of trigger time. So normally if you break something out, 5 seconds, you move, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's not the whole duration of time, that's trigger time. Okay, so it's still quite a long time. So an hour and a half will probably be a full day anyway. Okay. The concrete breakers, they produce a high level of vibration methods. Sanders, disc cutters, okay, so grinders produce high levels of numbers as well. Chipping hammers, scrubbers, needle guns, okay. Does anyone know what a scrabbler is? There's a bit of machine that you push along the ground, a bit like a lawnmower, and all it does is it churns up the concrete. It takes off a very, very thin layer, and they vibrate like that. Okay, very noisy and very dusty. Chainsaws, trimmers, hedge trimmers, lawnmowers. Okay, big ones. Okay, especially if you're going to go out and do some gardening. Okay, chainsaws are a really big one. Hedge trimmers, especially the ones on the poles. The vibration comes right the way down the pole. Okay, lawnmowers as well. You're also at risk if you hold material against power machinery, such as pedestal grinders. Okay, so if you're pushing something up against the machinery, let's say a sander, the vibration will go through the material. Okay, that can also lead to HAVS in your hand. You can use additional PPE to reduce the impact of vibration. You could probably get away using that on a grinder. You think you could use them using a jigsaw? No chance. Okay, so using a grinder, that would be, a breaker. But obviously when you're using a jigsaw, you need to have dexterity in your fingers. Okay. Has anyone ever used them before?
Yes.
Yeah? Do they work?
So.
Minimal.
Minimum, yeah, minimum.
Minimal. What you can do then, which is really important, is request lower vibration tools. Okay? So this is why we use the big Hiltis, the Hilti 1000s. Okay? Because they've got a lower vibration magnitude than, let's say, a Makita, for example. Okay? But when we get these with KPT, we do ask them what the vibration magnitude is. And the price difference is massive as well. So how can I reduce the risk then? Make sure that cutting tools are kept sharp so they remain efficient. Okay? So if you need to change the end of the breaker regularly, do it. Okay? Because if you're using a blunt one, what's it going to do? It's going to take longer to cut through. Okay? Same thing if you use any skill saws, jigsaws, change the blades regularly as well. Okay? Reduce the amount of time you use a tool in one go. Okay? Do other jobs in between. So let's say if there's only 2 of you breaking out a small area, so take turns using the breaker for 10 minutes, clear up and go again. Have a break, clear up, go again. Don't just do it all in one go, because that's where the damage will be done. Okay? If you take your time and let your hands recover, then obviously you can reduce the amount of damage it's going to do to your hands. Avoid gripping or forcing the tool more than you have to. Okay? So don't just hold on to it like that. It's not going to help you, so relax, okay? Push down on it gently, don't put the whole body over it. Store tools so they don't have very cold handles when they're next used, okay? That's really, really important. If your body is cold and the tool is cold and you start using it straight away, it's going to react to your body really, really quickly, okay? It's like anything. If you go and play football, for example, and you've not warmed up properly, you're more likely to have an injury, okay? Does anyone know the Honda? Anyone know the brand Honda?
Mm-hmm.
They make bikes, cars. Okay, so out in the Honda factory out in Swindon, they have every morning before they start work, they do exercise. It's part of their daily routine. So I think they do some Japanese martial arts or something like that, and it gets people doing things. They pay for them to do it. They get a guy coming in every morning. And they said they reduced the amount of injuries they had by like 80%. because their body's warm before they start work. So they do that every morning, and in every single factory they're working.
That's good.
Good practice.
Might get someone to come down and do strip outs.
Yes,
Yoga.
every morning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm sure the boys will love that, won't they? Do some yoga. Encourage good blood circulation by keeping warm and dry. Okay, so that's nice and easy when you're inside. But obviously, if you're out in the cold in the winter, that's very, very difficult. Okay, that's why you need to wear your PPE and your gloves. Okay. Giving up smoking. Yeah, giving up smoking. Apparently, smoking reduces the blood flow. Okay. However, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Okay. Last one, massage your fingers during work breaks. I'm sure you boys are going to be doing that. Okay. That's how you can reduce the risk. But smoking is a big one. Basically, reduces the flow of blood in your body. So risk assessments then. All MSK risk assessments with handheld power tools have details pertaining to the vibration of the power tool. Okay, so when you go and get your jigsaw risk assessment, it will say we've got a Makita one, and it will have on there, it'll be 16 MS. Okay, and if they might have a Hilti one or whatever. Okay, so we've done the work for you already. Okay. If you have your own tool, it's recommended that you're aware of the manufacturer's MS. Okay. So the MS is the magnitude per second. So if you've got any DeWalt tools, anything like that, it will have on the info plate, it will have a number M/S. Okay, probably for a skill sort, it's probably 2 or 3. Okay, so it's really, really low. Okay, this relates to how long you can safely use that tool. Okay, so it's really, really important that you guys know that. Okay. The MSK supervisor must ensure that the daily exposure level for the operative is recorded, but not exceeded. Okay? So don't just write down any old time. Okay, I've been on the site before, a guy put 32 minutes for a jigsaw. So I had a look. The max time they could use it was 15 minutes. So you need to change that and make sure you put down the right time. Okay, so if you put the wrong time in there, and this guy goes off and says that he's done his hands in, and the HC comes to investigate, they're going to ask, well, you've exceeded it massively. So it's really, really important that you know what the vibration magnitude is and how long they can use it. Okay?
And if you have an agency carpenter on site that brings his own tools as supervisor, do you still have to have monitoring?
Yep. So no matter whatever tools you're using, okay, so like I said, he's got his own tools, 9 times out of 10 they probably got like the wall or something like that. They need to know what they're using. Okay, it's really, really important. The tool details then. So Makita, 15.5. Really, really high. Okay, for the use of our drills. This one here, 16.6 of drilling holes. That is ridiculously high. Okay. So the maximum time they can use that is 11 minutes. Trigger time. 11 minutes. So this is the kind of thing that you need to double check. If you put in 15 minutes now on your sheet, you've exceeded that trigger time. Okay? Something definitely to be thinking of. Other tools you got then. Skill saws, 2.5. Trigger time, 8 hours. So you can be cutting ply for 8 hours a day and you're still good. Okay? Not that you're ever going to be cutting ply for 8 hours a day, but you can see that from a drill to a skill saw is a massive difference. Okay? But a jigsaw is also up really, really high. Okay? I think a Hilti breaker is about 6. Okay? But one of the, I think a Makita breaker is about 18. So it's really, really high. Okay? So this is the table. Has anyone seen this before?
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is then, so let's say for example, we've got a Hilti breaker. Okay, the vibration magnitude is 6. So we go up this side of the table, and we go all the way to the green. Okay, so we can use that for 1 hour trigger time. Okay, if you've got 4 guys doing it, that's 4 hours of trigger time, which is pretty much all done. If you use it for 2 hours, we're now going into the yellow, which is no good. So we need to be staying in the green at all times. The yellow is a warning, saying you need to stop what you're doing. You go into the red and the orange, that means you've exceeded it, and it's high chances that something's going to go wrong. Okay?
So if we look at, for example, 14, max time we can use it is 15 minutes. Okay? So it's really, really important that we check the vibration magnitude before we put it down on the check sheet. Okay? Everyone happy with that? So here is, everyone seen that before?
Yeah.
Okay? The date, equipment used, the MS output. Okay, so you need to put that in there and make sure it's the correct one. The name of who's using it and the duration of the time. Okay? Also put some comments on there as well. So let's say cutting ply, breaking out some screed. Alright? Give me a little picture, tell everyone what's going on. Everyone happy filling that out? You seen that before, Lucas? No? So we'll have a go at fill one of these out in a minute. Alright? So obviously if you've got any carpenters on site, you need to be making sure we're recording and have monitors. So the summary then, you're now aware of the hand-arm vibration syndrome and what the prolonged exposure can lead to. Okay, so it can lead to vibration, white finger, carpal tunnel syndrome and numbness, things like that. You're aware of the early signs and symptoms, okay? And you're familiar with the completion and the HAVS risk assessment and register. I'll run through that with you quickly as we go. Any questions? No? Spot on? Jumping.
Jack, I'm just going to use the toilet then.
Yeah.